Hey, it's me, Andy. I wanted to show you guys, since I haven't blogged about the progress of the garden or the homestead, I just decided to do a video. Sorry, my hair's wet. So I'm gonna do a video. I wanted to, but I've been trying to wait until like everything's actually done and perfect, and that's never going to happen because there's always something else to do. So I'm just gonna show you how it is. I didn't mow the front yard like it needs. I didn't do anything to clean up. So just deal with the mess, but you can get an idea of what we're going for. I'll turn this around. Okay, standing on the south side of our house. This is the progress we've made. So you can't see super well. Where's my finger? There are lilacs we have transplanted from our big one all along here. That's like a willow coming up. There's an aspen that we transplanted. So it will be a while before those are big enough to do anything, but we did transplant those. Crabapple blossoms faded a little less than a week ago. They were absolutely gorgeous. Okay, and here is the garden. We still have 2 little boxes to build, and we have, I'm gonna paint the arbor white, and let's walk over here. So I'm going to put some paving stones down inside the arbor area. My David Austin roses are on either side. I'm going to paint this white, and we still need to get wood chips, cardboard and wood chips down in the aisleways. So that may happen this weekend, maybe not. This bed is carrots and radishes. That is onions, and there's a carrot in there that from last year. There's a couple random, this is the only bed I actually planted carrots in this year. There are a few that I didn't realize we had left in the ground last year, and I'm just gonna let those go to seed. So that's a carrot. There's lettuces, and that is Swiss chard, which is not doing super well. Last year they did amazing, but there's only like 1 or 2 coming up in there, and I've put probably 30 seeds in there. So my spinach and lettuces and snap peas, which we're already harvesting off of. This one is kale and snap peas. Oh, let me flip this way really quickly. Against the house here, this is a random mix. I have flower seeds. Hey guys, I'm filming. I have flower seeds that I've put in, ground cherries, some random leftover onions, and I don't know if you can see. I planted cilantro in here last year. I did not plant it in here this year, and it went to seed, and it is everywhere along with the dill, which I knew the dill would reseed itself well, but I'm like shocked at how much cilantro we have. There's hollyhocks. That's calendula coming up that reseeded itself right there, and there's a few other ones. Our chives, that is a spirea. Hollyhocks. I planted hollyhock seeds here the year we moved in, so it's taken 3 years for them to pop up. Cilantro and dill. Chives, more cilantro, cilantro everywhere. Chives and more hollyhocks, a few more ground cherries and such. There's some random stuff in here, calendula, and this is honeysuckle. So that's kind of a mix of herbs and flowers and randomness. Okay, back this way. These 2 beds are garlic. This is spinach that I did not plant this year. That just reseeded itself from last year. My kale is super slow compared to last year coming up. Okay, this round bed in the center has cucumbers. So my plants are doing amazing. I had 52 cucumbers started on the plants, And then in about the last week of May, before I could transplant all my viney squash and cucumber stuff out, they just were miserable. They started looking really, really sad. So hopefully these kind of recover. I also put cabbages in here, and some onions along the border. And these two, so this is standing looking out. So this is full of, can you see them? They're tiny. This is full of my pepper and basil starts. I planted everything you see from seed, with the exception of the onions were set, and the tomatoes I purchased because it's a big long conversation, but I was refusing to grow tomatoes from seed this year. Okay, this is all some melons and a pumpkin, tomatoes, basil, and tomatillos. That's what I put in here. And those are green beans. There's green beans on the 4 beds, these 4 beds on the sides, because they're gonna grow up, hopefully, if it works, up these cattle panel arches. So this bed is all peppers and the green beans and cabbages, Chinese and Brunswick. There are the gloves I've been looking for. Broccoli and the green beans. This mallow stuff is just a pain in the butt. Okay, cabbages and other brassicas. This also has beets in it that are coming up here and there. Not super much yet, but I need to replant some of these. More cabbages and random brassicas. I think there's a mix of like cauliflower and I don't know. My nasturtiums are getting pulled up almost every night. So I think that's the only one I have left at this point. I think I started like 10 or 12. They're supposed to deter the cabbage moths from the brassicas, and nothing's eating my cabbages, but for some reason... Guys! Knock it off, I'm filming. Inside and do your chores, please, now. Anyway, sorry, mom life. Here's the pond. We planted that oak tree and that maple, and there's a maple right there. Anyway, the nasturtiums are supposed to keep the cabbage moths away, and nothing's touching my cabbages or any of the other brassicas, but they're eating, if something's ripping up the nasturtiums, eating the leaves clean off, and then uprooting the actual plant. So if anyone has an idea of what that could be, let me know. Okay, and oh, some of you know that I bought wisteria and we could not figure out where we were going to plant it. Okay, the wisteria that we bought and we weren't sure where we were going to plant, I don't know why it didn't cross my mind before, we are growing it up the swing set. There's a tiny one on that side and there's a big one on that side. So hopefully that'll take over and drape this whole thing, which lighting wise you can't really see, but that's the boys' willow fort behind there. So it'll give a hedge. The pond is completely full. We need to get our water system figured out. We do not have it in yet, so nothing has been watered other than with the hose. The goats are being sold this week. I am done. I'm sick of them and getting out. There is one little stretch in this back pasture fence where they will get out and come around, and they will get out and eat my garden and eat our orchard. So I'm done. No more goats until we get the fence fixed. We're not doing animals this year. I mean, we still have rabbits, we still have chickens and ducks. The duck is sitting on eggs currently in the duck house. Chickens are in the chicken tractor because I'm sick of dealing with chicken poop. Other than that, we're kind of done with animals for this year. We're going to focus on fixing the water system in the garden. Okay, grapes are coming along nicely, starting to send out sprouts. The raspberries, aside from where the goats have eaten, are doing really well. Like always, raspberries are pretty much a weed in this area. The lilac is in full bloom. This is where we have transplanted the other lilacs we put along the road from. And, sorry, making me dizzy. Yeah. Did I finish showing you the garden? Anyway, I don't think I did. There was the little square box of celery, and then we have 2 more to build, and then a long box of zucchini and yellow squash. The garden will probably be extended out this way, but I don't know if it'll happen in time for this year's planting. We have a short growing season, so. Okay, sorry. Along the house, I just have some hostas, which are not my favorite, but they were free because they were out in what used to be a shade garden area out front. It is no longer, and I just planted them here to take up room. I need to get wood chips in these beds. I love the forget-me-nots. I also have plant hydrangea and bleeding hearts back here. That's our schoolroom. Bleeding heart, hydrangea. Okay, this is what I'm trying to show you. Peach tree that is like super sad. Flower beds that need major wood chips and weeded. I cannot keep up. The peony, for some reason this year, only has a handful of blooms on it. Last year had a ton. And I won't walk over there, but there used to be a gigantic conifer that was completely topped because of the power line. This is really awkward. And underneath was all just like shade plants that I don't love. And so we took the tree down, put up the little fence. This is going to be like a cottage flower garden. So the apricot did not put off fruit this year. It froze after the blossoms. The apples, we have 3 apple trees that will be loaded and 2 that I'll be lucky to get anything off of because they didn't really have blooms. And I don't know if I'm going to. I won't walk out there. This is what the pasture garden looks like, which will eventually be a food forest. But it's going to take a whole lot of work. So we have fruit trees in 2 rows this way. And then throughout here, this is the strawberry patch, you guys. These trees were not here. It is growing up with a ton of trees. We have transplanted currants. Maybe I'll just walk out there. So we transplanted a bunch of currants and gooseberries and rhubarb. What else? Blackberries. Eventually the vision is this is going to have a bunch of little pathways through it. This whole what used to be strawberry bed and is now like it was flat. Anyway, so the vision for this eventually is meandering pathways through edibles and trees and flowers and just kind of a wild secret garden-ish, I guess, thing. So there's like peppermint, and I plopped some onions in randomly. We have no water system out here. Well, we don't have a water system anywhere at the moment, but we don't water this aside from bringing buckets out to the trees and such. So I don't know if you can see all that. That is all nightshade. So there's certain weeds that are horrible and we need to like eradicate, but without chemicals or things that won't hurt the soil. So this is going to be a lot of work. We have ground cherry or bush cherries and currants and elderberries that you can't see because they're not higher than the grass. And some of the fruit trees. And the neighbors' cows in this field have shoved through and pushed this over, and they are in here every day now, multiple times a day. So that makes me a little paranoid. Anyway, so this is like the biggest to-do. We're gonna have to rip all this black weed cloth. That does nothing to keep the weeds out. And eventually, in maybe 10 years, this will be what I'm wanting it to be. So, blackberries. They don't do well here like they do in Oregon. They're not wild, but you can plant cultivated ones, and we'll see if it does anything and survives. So, anyway, that is the rundown on what is happening now, this 1st of June, 3rd of June. If you guys have any suggestions for anything, keep me posted, let me know. Always stuff to be done. I think there always will be. So, thanks for watching. It has a ton of weed cloth down, but it's obviously not keeping the weeds down. They're already June 3rd, waist high, more than that maybe. So we have cherry trees and peach trees and plum trees and cherry, did I already say that? And pear. 2 of the cherries are dead, need to be replaced. Doesn't help that cows get in here every day. So I'm not sure if you can see where the original rows of strawberries were. They're still in there. There's still blooms. You see that? See that strawberry bloom? But obviously the grasses, we have full trees now. So this whole thing, all the way, this is huge. So this is probably ½ acre of strawberries is what used to be here. Oh, that one's an aspen. I didn't even realize that. That one will stay. So we've transplanted, here's some currants. There's a bunch of stuff that I'm just kind of filling in holes, but it's mostly weeds. And I'm not sure how we're going to accomplish it. That's a baby apricot tree. Some iris bulbs I had left over. So this whole thing we want to be like meandering pathways through this like mix of edible fruit. Hold on. Right up against the house is an herb bed that is full of this, not herb, flower stuff that the people who lived here before us had. But I've got a ton of stuff in here. I've got walking onions and tansy and feverfew and chamomile and calendula and thyme and sage and oregano and what else? There's a bunch of stuff. Parsley, mint that I probably need to pull out before it takes over. What else is there? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in here. This is right up against the house in the front walk, and it needs to be weeded as well, but I've got seeds coming up, so I'm waiting. I think that's it.